Okay, I think we're ready, are we? 6 o'clock. Maybe we want to just give a few moments just for people to settle in. I'll give you a little bit of housekeeping. If you have a copy of the prayer book with you, we'll be giving out page numbers. I believe Olivia's put in the chat as well, should you wish to access that through a link. So download it or open it up on a different screen. You can do that, or you can just settle back and appreciate our concluding service. We'll conclude, of course, with the blowing of the shofar, Tekiah Gadola. It'll conclude with Havdalah, and then we'll also add Hamotzi, and that'll be the official end of our Yom Kippur fast. And so, if you don't yet have nearby something that you might say Hamotzi over, or something that you want to raise a glass when we share Havdalah, then you might choose to go and avail yourselves of that. And as you settle in, I want to invite just for a moment a tradition that I learned when I was a student in Jerusalem. We used to go to a congregation that's very well known in Jerusalem called Kol HaNishama, and the Rabbi Levi Wyman Kelman would invite everyone at the beginning of the Friday evening service to do a Chazarat Shavua, to return over the week, to reflect on the last week. Well, I'm inviting you to do, got the strange light coming to my house, don't I? A Chazarat Yamim Noraim, wherein we review the last 10 days. It's been a lot since we first gathered on Zoom or on YouTube, or began to come together for the High Holy Days. And I'd asked Olivia late in preparing for this whether we might just look at the schedule of all the activities that we had. I want to give everyone a lot of credit for making it through these last 10 days, a very surreal and strange kind of way of marking these High Holy Days. But I want us to think of them not as the last 10 days, but rather as the first 10 days of this new year. We've reflected on a lot, and we've shared a lot from Erev Rosh Hashanah and Rosh Hashanah morning, and the Torah studies that Rabbi Henry led us in on those mornings, lighting candles together from various places, even up all the way through last evening, and then again more study this morning, and beautiful music that Molly and Don and Greg and Olivia behind the scenes brought us, and Rabbi Henry commanding all of that. Just been a really special experience for me, even as it's been really missing something, but I'm really grateful to be able to gather with all of you now as we bring our day to its conclusion. I want to just share with you that I think we've all participated now in this great Jewish sociological, certainly an American Jewish sociological experience. We'll be speaking of the High Holidays 5781 for a long time, about what they meant and what they revealed and what they really reinforced for me. I know about what is most special, what I miss most about the High Holy Days, and what I'm committing to in the year ahead. And I hope the same is for you. I mentioned to Rabbi Henry this afternoon, as we were doing a series of Yizkor services on the hour, we were sort of having time between these services. Each one was maybe 15 minutes when we really stretched it. So we had space between our services to reflect on the days gone by. And I mentioned that in her sermons, she put out 2 questions for us. And so I want you to think about them. I'm going to invite Rabbi Henry to remind us what the questions were, or what the invitations are, because I want them to really be a prompt for you, for us, and that we will continue to have conversations either with ourselves or with whomever we share our secrets, and with each other, wherein we can create something really special, really sacred. So Rabbi Henry, will you remind us the two queries you put out there?
I think the first one was when we had our conversation for Rosh Hashanah in Erev Rosh Hashanah, and I said, well, first of all, this took place in July when we were filming it, and I was wondering how the liturgy would feel to people this year. Would different aspects of it resonate? Would you be missing certain parts? And so I asked you to think about that. So now that it's pretty much over, we invite you to share your thoughts with us. I mean, you can email me, you can email Rabbi Bisno, and it's henry@rodefshalom.org and bisno@rodefshalom.org. Let us know what you thought. We're not looking so much for critique. We're looking for really actually what different parts of the liturgy meant to you, or how they resonated with you this year, if particular parts stood out. The second question I actually asked in my sermon which was I confessed my, I don't know if it's a character flaw, but it's a part of my character that could be worked on, I guess, and which is my running out of extrovertedness, and how that it's not so much that I run out of extrovertedness, is that how I might hurt people when I run out of extrovertedness. And I said, well, okay, I just did my vidui. Now it's your turn. And that was by no means an invitation for you to have to confess something out loud that you were not comfortable with, but it was an idea of, what about you? I mean, really look seriously at yourself, and what is it that gets in the way of you being, better, the best person that you could be. And then, if you want to share that with someone, the whole idea of this vidui that I find so powerful is it's an opportunity to, it's an opportunity for a new start, a real new start, where you say, I don't want to do this anymore. I want to stop doing this. And what can I do instead? And it's a process, and we'll work on it. And as I said, we'll fail sometimes, and sometimes we'll be successful. So it's an opportunity to get, I mentioned it this morning and mention it again, to be thoughtful about that. Also happy to talk to you about that. Rabbi Bisner would be happy to talk to you about that. But again, it can be totally private. So those are the two things we talked about.
So we have some charges. I invited also, I'll just remind you, personal privilege of in my sermon last night about not asking when this will end. We all yearn for this circumstance to end, or for things we don't like to end. But I said, by asking when will it end, we miss the opportunity to imagine what will be required of us to bring about a different ending, and then what will be required of us going forward. So this high holiday season for me has been about looking inward and looking forward. And I hope that we've all together started the year off in a really very special way. Okay, I'm going to mute myself and turn it over to Molly.
We continue with Ne'ilah on first page 613 with Patach Lanu Sha'ar. Following that is the Ne'ilah Avot Ve'imahot, and it is customary to rise for this remainder of Ne'ilah, and you may do so in body or in spirit. Page 624. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotinu ve'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, ve'Elohei Leah, Ha'el HaGadol, HaGibor ve'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel, Chasadim Tovim, Ve'konei HaKol, Ve'zocher Chasdei Avot ve'imahot, U'mevi geula livnei bneihem, le'man Shemo be'avot. Remember us for life, ruler that loves life, and seal us in the book of life. For your sake,
On page 633, alive. I aspire to an eloquent seeing of all earth's seasons, inspired touching of flesh, flower, and stone, true hearing of others, journey, self, and terrain, the difficult dignity of individual thought. An inner burning of commandment, a sometime certainty of divine presence, weaving of sorrow into becoming, upwelling of seated but surprising joy, into this life courageously toward the unknown purpose. And on page 644, Hamelech Yoshev al Kisei Rachamim Mitnaheg v'Chasidut. Majestic God, your throne is mercy, love, and kindness, your path. Though we wander and stray, your forgiveness grows as you pardon our wrongs one by one, doing what is right for every living being. In your mercy and love, do not treat us harshly for the harshness of our deeds. You teach us to proclaim your attributes, made known to Moses, man of humility, long ago. This day remember for our sake the covenant of your 13 ways, as it is written. The Eternal descended in the cloud, stood with him there, and proclaimed,
Adonai, Adonai, Rachum v'chanun, Erech apayim, v'rav chesed v'emet, nozer chesed l'alafim, nosei avon v'fesha, v'chata v'nakeh.
On page 646, Moses prayed to God, as you have been faithful to this people ever since Egypt, please forgive their failings now, in keeping with your boundless love.
Adonai, Adonai, El Rachum v'chanun, Erech apayim, v'rav chesed v'emet, Yosef chesed le'alafim, Yosef avon v'feshach v'chata v'nachavim.
Vayomar Adonai salachti kidvarecha, and God responded, I forgive, as you have asked. Forgive us, Avinu, for we have strayed. Pardon us, Malkeinu, for succumbing to sin. You are generous in granting forgiveness, all loving to those who reach out to you.
Adonai, Adonai, El Rachum v'chanun, Erech apayim v'rav chesed v'emet, nozer chesed l'alafim, nosei avon v'fesha, v'chata
Eloheinu ve'Elohe avotenu ve'imotenu, our God and God of our fathers and mothers, slach lanu, forgive us, mechal lanu, pardon us, kaper lanu, lead us to atonement.
On page 662 is the Avinu Malkeinu for Ne'ilah, and you'll see several lines where it says Chotmeinu b'sefer, seal us in the book. And again, we rise in body or in spirit. Avinu Malkeinu, kabel berachamim u'beratzon et tefilatenu. Avinu Malkeinu, aseh leman rachamecha rabim. Avinu Malkeinu, aseh imanu leman shemecha. Avinu Malkeinu, chotmeinu b'sefer parnasa v'chalkala. Avinu Malkeinu, Chotmeinu B'Sefer Zechuyot. Avinu Malkeinu, Chotmeinu B'Sefer Slicha U'Mechila. Avinu Malkeinu, Chotmeinu B'Sefer Chaim Tovim. Avinu Malkeinu, Chotmeinu B'Sefer Geula Yeshua. Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Mal Yadenu Mibirchotecha. Avinu Malkeinu, Petach Shari Shamayim Letfilatenu. Avinu Malkeinu, Chadesh Aleinu, Shana Tova. Avinu Malkeinu, Elanu Melech,
Avinu Malkeinu, Adenu V'Aneinu. Avinu Malkeinu, Adenu V'Aneinu, Ki ein banu ma'asim. Aseh imanu, tzedakah v'chesed. Aseh imanu, tzedakah v'chesed, le'hoshienu.
On page 666, Su'u Sha'arim, open the gates, followed by the Shema and the Baruch Shem Kavod, and Rabbi Bizno will call the Tekiah Gedolah, and as you see, we have folks that are all ready to do that.
Tiny shofar.
Su'u Sha'arim Roshechem, U'se'u Kitzchei Olam, Yavo Melech HaKavod. Mi'u ze Melech HaKavod, Adonai Tzvaot, U'Melech HaKavod. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed. Adonai hu Elohim, 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 Adonai hu Elohim.
I wanted to clear my throat so we can get a really good one here.
Not with the microphone now.
We have all our shofar blowers at the ready. Maybe there are other shofar blowers in other Zoom windows and you want to unmute yourself. You ready? Here we go. Tekiah Gedolah.
Nope, I'm done.
That was wonderful. That was great. Thank you.
Can you add your-
Mar Chatima Tova. We want to shift to Havdalah. Bring this evening to a close, this day to a conclusion.
Yours. It's one great piece. David.
I'm going to ask for some folks to be my hands for Havdalah. Yep. Oh, that's yours.
Beautiful.
Good thing you didn't take mine.
Dip.
Dip.
Dip the candle in the
Shana
wine.
Tova, Shana 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 Tova. A good year, a year of peace. May gladness reign and joy increase. A good year, a year of peace. May gladness reign and joy increase. Eliyahu Anavi, Eliyahu Anishmi, Eliyahu, Eliyahu, Eliyahu Agiladi. Imran Yaminu, Yavo Elenu, Imashiach ben David, Imashiach ben David.
Wonderful. We need also a hamotzi, though. That's really, I think, what
Who's going to be willing to
we
do
need
it?
most. I'll lead us.
All right, go for it, Aaron.
Okay, great. So don't you join me? Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech
I
haolam
Eloheinu melech haolam,
hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. Well, Shana Tova, everybody.
Shana Tova, to
Shana Tova.
hope to be together next year in person. And before that, not before next year in person is what I'm
Yeah,
trying to
let's
say.
hope.
Before all the way to
Don't
next year,
yapa.
what I'm trying to say. I want to say hi to Saul, baby Saul.
What are we doing? Oh. We're just on YouTube.
Get off.
Not so bad.
Everyone has a good night. And
Shana
a good
Tova.
year, and I'm gonna sign off.